If you're curious about how the AirPods Pro 2 compare against prescription hearing aids, stay tuned, we have the video for you. Hey guys, this is JC with Altamont Family Hearing, bald hearing guy on TikTok, and the video that we're doing today is to find out if the AirPods 2 Pro 2s have the capabilities to fit someone's hearing loss if they're within 40 to 50 decibels. So we actually have a story. We have a patient, which is Scott here. Scott came to us after trying the new AirPods Pro 2 because they've been advertising the hearing feature. He tried them for a little bit. He saw some benefit, but it was enough for him to say, hey, I'm ready for prescription hearing aids. We've been getting the questions a lot from patients. I know a lot of people are curious with all of the advertising Apple is doing of how capable are these things. Our recommendation is always going to be see a hearing care professional, make sure that everything's healthy with their hearing system. But I've had the curiosity to find out what can these things do. So what we've done is we invited Scott back in. We got some brand new AirPods 2. He has been wearing prescription hearing aids for about 2 months now, which are the Oticon Intent. But we brought him back in. He took his hearing screening already. We'll show you some videos of it. And now we're connecting the AirPods 2 to his prescription. And we're going to compare objectively with real ear measurement. How well do they stack up against prescription hearing aids? Are we close? And right off the bat, I know you probably haven't been hearing me as well. How are you hearing with the AirPods Pro 2 compared to your Oticons now that you've taken the hearing screening?
I would say the first experience with the AirPod 2s was very uncomfortable due to the fitting size, and I have a very small ear canal. So they were too snug and uncomfortable. And as far as getting a volume with the default setting of it, they weren't loud enough. And so after 2 days of purchasing, I decided that these were great for music. I can pump up the volume on the music, but as far as a hearing aid, they weren't doing the job that I expected. So they were returned to the supplier, and I decided to make an appointment with a professional and have my hearing test. And the Oticons, which have been 1,000% better, have changed everything. And I think that the AirPods are great if you want to hear music, but if you're looking for the entire spectrum of music and improved hearing, you're going to need a professional supplier and better hearing devices.
One thing I'll speak to now that I've compared his screening with the AirPods Pro 2 and our professional audiogram that was done inside of a calibrated sound booth is they're very close. I'm excited to see that Apple can get, so long as the noise is controlled, that they can get so close to what we can do inside of a professional setting, which costs us a lot of money. We spend money to calibrate the inserts to every single year, making sure that all of our equipment is controlled and doing what they're supposed to, and the output in the patient's ears is what it's supposed to be. So I got to give a huge kudos to Apple. If someone doesn't have access to a hearing care professional, let's say you're in a remote area, let's say you have a family member who's just not ready to schedule this appointment, I think it's going to be really, and I'll show you guys the audiograms, his test and mine side by side so you can see how close. I think it's going to be a great way for a family member to say, hey dad, hey grandpa, hey mom, let's go ahead and just do a screening with these AirPods Pro 2. And then once if they see that there's a loss, it'd be an easier segue to get them into a hearing care professional to make sure that there are no other underlying issues that we can pick up with the screening. For Scott, in his audiogram, you guys are going to see that there is a difference between the left and right ear. We have done something called bone conduction testing and masking to ensure that there isn't a healthcare concern for Scott. This is an area that, and thankfully the AirPods do say it is unmasked. And I'll show you guys a picture here, but the consumer does not know what that means. So in his scenario, he would have benefited from coming in to see a hearing care professional for peace of mind, but nowhere in the app did it say, go get tested. It said there is a possible hearing loss. Where the AirPods. So that there are areas of concern. I would start the journey with the screening, but absolutely get into a hearing care professional to make sure everything's okay, because the person, you don't know what you don't know. And that's what we get paid to do, is to find out and make sure that everything is healthy and okay. In a moment, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some very small probe microphones inside Scott's ears. We're gonna measure how his ear canal is resonating the sound. And then we're gonna put the AirPods 2 in his ear, and we're gonna be able to pick up how much power is actually coming out. He's been wearing hearing aids that have been calibrated. So right off the bat, he's expressed they're sounding softer than his prescription aids, but we wanna see it on paper. And that way we can also see, just how much are these things, how much power are they pumping? So give us a second, we're gonna get everything set up, and in a moment I'll show you guys the data. A woman's voice, it's a mixture of 6 tongues.
Okay.
And we're going to be measuring at a normal conversation level, soft and loud conversation level. How well are the AirPods giving you the power that you should get, and then compare it to your prescription hearing aids, okay, which we had done the real ear measurement before. So all you got to do is hold still,
Okay.
face forward, and we're going to have some fun.
Alors, الهدف die Steuerisch. And so the people when you come to the college to flipping the Leute keine than the other. 拼命的 dogs.
This here, this green that says 65 decibels, it's this line, which should be closer to this green line. And the purple that we're seeing up here are his prescription hearing aids. That green are the AirPods Pro 2. So we can already see there's some power in the bass. We got quite a bit of bass. His ears are sealed off a little more than I'd like. Given the option with prescription hearing aids, we would have some venting in there, which the AirPods Pro 2 don't have. But there is way too much of a drop off in his mid to high frequencies, which is where a majority of speech understanding happens. We're gonna do this also for soft sounds and for really loud sounds, but right off the bat, I can see that we are well under fit. In his ears right now, we do have some probe microphones. They're deeply inserted, and we have the AirPods Pro 2 in front of them. We did not turn the volume up. He does have the option of turning them up, but they're set to where they should be for the screening that he did with the hearing aids. Now, for full transparency, prescription hearing aids, they will usually be closer right off the bat when you're fitting with a provider, but the only way to know if the hearing aids are doing what they're supposed to is doing real ear measurement, which is this test. Unfortunately, only about 30% of hearing care providers in the country perform real ear measurement. I would say if you're considering prescription hearing aids, or even to do something like this to see if the AirPods are doing enough for you, make sure you find a hearing care provider that performs real ear measurement, or look for the terms best practices. Usually that means the practice is not just trying to dispense and get as many hearing aids out, but that they're using validation measures to have peace of mind to make sure the patient's hearing their absolute best. It takes more time, something that normally chain stores, it's going to be difficult to find because it's not required by law, but for the practices that are looking to be of the best, which we're striving to be, a very important tool. So, and we get to do videos like this to show people, what are these things really doing? So, we're almost there. We're way too soft. So for a soft-spoken person, this is not enough. The person would have to turn those hearing aids up significantly in order to understand well. Now, they are going to notice a difference. Having some power compared to someone that's had no hearing aids at all, someone that's never worn them, they're going to notice a benefit. And this is the part that's a little scary, because someone's going to be buying these things, putting them on and going, man, that's louder. That is a good thing. But if it's not enough, that means that auditory nerve is still not getting the proper amount of stimulation, and hearing loss is progressive, especially if the person's not really getting all the power that they should have. Over time, that leads to phonemic regression, meaning the brain not being able to understand and process the sounds that they're hearing. And the person can sometimes need some sort of oral rehabilitation, even after getting quality hearing aids, in order for them to listen and process effectively things like speech and background noise, things like rapid talkers. So the risk of not getting the power that you're supposed to have means that prescription's really not being met, which is why prescription hearing aids, they are costly, but more than just hearing. And it's more than just a device. We're all done with this. I'm going to show you guys the comparison in a little bit. But what I also want to show you is going to Scott. If you look in his ears right now, I would argue that wearing the AirPods is significantly more obvious than wearing prescription hearing aids. In a moment, we're going to put his hearing aids on. And for women, I think this is even, let's say, easier, because if we have the longer hair, we hide it even more. Scott does have a lot of hair to hide. Someone like me would be in a little bit more trouble, but even then, there are little devices like these guys that can go all the way in the canal. No one would ever see it, but it's still a prescription device. It's still set to where the person should have it. So let's get you disconnected, and in a moment, we'll get you back in your hearing aids and see how you're hearing. So I am purposely going to get very close.
Okay.
So we're crossing the personal space boundaries, but this is what you guys see. I went with black for the color. Well, we went with black, I should say, because of the frame of his glasses, because it's really cool. Someone standing behind you, don't really see it. What I care most about, as far as discretion, is if you're in a meeting, if you're in the workplace, you cannot see it. So you'd have to be very close to someone to see the prescription hearing aids. So in my opinion, this is much more discreet than having the AirPods that you guys saw a second ago. Did some homework on the AirPods. What did you find when you were looking these up?
I went to YouTube and I wanted to find out people that own the AirPod 2s. And I found a few different YouTube videos of people that have ran their own test, not a professional test, that had hearing aids and wanted to see if this would replace their hearing aids. And all three of the people who I followed their videos, they all stated that it's a really good product, and for someone that hasn't decided to go to have a professional have a hearing test, they would get something like this temporarily. And it is great for listening to music, as a lot of the Apple products are, for having earbuds in your ears. But they all agreed that it would never replace their professional hearing devices.
What I'm comparing to are over 30 years of hearing care technology and research and development, and top audio engineers finding what is the best thing for people to hear. There is an unfair advantage here. Tech is getting better and better every day, and if it means that there's a future tomorrow with much more affordable hearing healthcare for people, and that's great. That's great for everyone, because right now that's the biggest challenge that we have in audiology is it's not only expensive, also the just the aesthetic, the stigma around it. If someone's going to walk around with AirPods 2 for their hearing healthcare, it really just keeps breaking down the stigma of hearing aids are for seniors, or hearing aids are clunky and ugly. As we see here, we can barely see them right now. The closer we get to a world where hearing aids are no big deal and people that need them get them before we have a cognitive decline, before their hearing healthcare really continues to decline, then that's a beautiful future. So thank you, Apple. Thank you, Scott, for taking the time and saying and letting us do this. I've never done something like this, and we've had some fun. I'll show you. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach us, Altamont Family Hearing. And yeah, have a good one. Thank you.
Thanks for watching.
If you like videos like these, be sure to give us a like, a comment, and a share, and we have more coming your way. Thank you.